tuning in. This is QTV this morning, and I'm here with my colleague, Ali Cisse.
Thank you very much,
It's been amazing so far.
Yeah, it's been amazing, and then I think the next segment is going to be more interesting.
Yes, we're joined by Muhammed Trawally. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Geneva,
yes.
for having me on
So, Aliu, he's security guard turned manager at a bank. Isn't it exciting?
Quite exciting.
Yes.
Muhammad, take us through.
Right. Thank you very much, Geneva and Aliu, for having me on this interesting event or show that you have initiated. The journey is not a walk in the park. As you can see, transition from being a security guard to a manager in one of the international banks in the Gambia would definitely take a lot of dedication, hard work. So right when I finished my high school, before the results come out, the first job I picked on, just like she rightly said, was an Uncle Sam security officer. It's just brief though, but the reason what motivated me doing this is to make sure that I engage myself in the meantime rather than being idle or doing nothing. So, and that is when I had the opportunity to go and further my education while I was doing that security job. I think I did it for about 2 to 3 months. Then I got a scholarship to go and study. You know, so I resigned from the security job. I started studying, and then while I'm studying, I got another offer to do a job for one airline company. But when I compare the two, that is the payment I'm getting from the airline company and the benefit I'm going to have when I finish my school, I couldn't compare it because the cost of the transport and breakfast and a lot of it's not even covering what I'm having. And I said, well, I have this opportunity. The first focus I should do is to focus on my education, and which is what I did. I resigned from that and just to focus 100% on my education, and that gave me time to be going to the school all the time. And at the time, the school doesn't have a librarian, so because I go there frequently, they identify me to be opening it for the...
Oh, wow, what a journey.
Right.
Wow.
Opening it for people to come in and then register and then take notes of who takes what. And while I was doing that, they've seen the resilience in me and determination. They co-opted me to be an admin assistant in the school. So I was working with them, and that gave me an opportunity to also pay just the examination fees, because that's gave me an opportunity to have scholarship with them as well. I don't pay the tuition fees. So right after completing that, the following year, I started lecturing in the same school.
Which school was this?
This was at Newsrat Management Accountancy Training Center. It was a tertiary institution at the time. So that is when I moved further to go and work briefly with another UK-based NGO in the Gambia called Friends of the Gambia. Also briefly, I think about 9 months. Then I finally landed to my current employer, which is Standard Chartered Bank. When I started working with them, I started as a teller.
Look at that.
What we call cashier.
You started with a teller, now a manager, wow.
Right. So the transition, I'm just briefing it, but honestly, it was a lot of hard work. There is a lot of ups and downs and obstacles that could have knocked me off from that journey. But because I'm determined and I'm focused, and one thing that also kept me, I didn't mention, was that where I come from the village called Kerawan Samasira.
Oh, in CRR.
In CRR.
Exactly.
Okay.
Wow.
Right. You know, that part of the country, agriculture, that is rice and farming is the number one. People focus more on that. And I'm one person that is not very good in that area. So my dad has seen that in me as growing up, and what he told me was that since you don't like to be walking...
Oh, you don't like going to farm?
No.
So this was an upside now.
Exactly. So you have to hold on to pen. And at the time, it doesn't make sense to me because I didn't see it as something that is an advice, but it's actually an inspirational advice. You know, especially when he passed on, that's when I begin to pick. That's when I begin to pick the sense on what he said, and that has been a motivation for me to stay and keep focusing just on my education. And I want to believe that has really paid off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me take you back to working as a security guard.
Right.
How was the experience just finishing school? You know how boys are when they just finish school, you know, they think they're on top of the world and all of that.
Right.
Working as a security guard is not an option for them, you
Right.
know. So how was that feeling working as a security guard right there at that age, you know, where you're expected to be above the moon?
You know, one thing that happened is people look low on you. They think that being a security guard, I mean, it's the lowest class of work class that you can be. But I was so determined to make sure that I changed that trajectory. So when I was going to work, I'll make sure that I iron my uniform, you know, make it neat, you know, look like I'm going to
the office.
Yeah.
I forgot to bring the picture of that, but I was putting on a tie, you know, going to, you know, residence. I was working. In fact, when Serekunda Hospital was under construction, I remember I was there as a security guard.
Wow.
You know, looking at the premises during the day, you know. So the experience was very difficult, but I took it because I see it as a stepping stone. It's not to say that is going to determine my destiny,
Exactly.
but it's just to have an opportunity to start somewhere, to be able to go to where I want to be. That's how I took it to be. And eventually, as I've narrated, you know, you can see that the transformation has been done thus far.
Yeah.
I think from him you see that he was someone who was very proud of what he did.
Yes,
Right.
and the fact that he wasn't picking and choosing,
Exactly.
you know, what to do, considering the fact that you started as a teller.
Right.
So tell us, what, you know, did you put in place to be able to be a manager now? From a teller, you know,
a
at an
manager.
international bank,
Right.
and we all know how difficult it is when it
Right.
comes to these international banks. Their
Right.
standards are so high. So how were you able to break all the barriers there and eventually become a manager now?
Yeah, I think this should be a message to everyone out there who is currently working. Determination, dedication, and hard work definitely pay off.
Indeed.
Whatever you do, just do your best, right? Even if it is not recognized today, someday someone will recognize that effort. Because the more you work hard, the better it will be for you, for the organization you work for. So when I started as a teller, you know, it was because that's my first experience working in the bank and dealing with cars. You know, sometimes you have that difficulties, you get short, you have to pay and all those things. But with time, I get to learn better and improve myself. And the immediate role I have just after that was to become what they call a tick bag, to be able to look for transactions that are done by the tellers to validate it, whether they have done correctly or not correctly. You know, and when I was doing that, that gave me another opportunity because the way I was doing it was very excellent. They said, I always make sure I'm spot on. I pick on issues and highlight it, and corrections are done. And because if you do wrong posting, it can cost a bank. You said, I'm supposed to post into your account. I post it into your account. If she withdraws it, you know. So that people that would be looking for that, you know, when I was doing it diligently, and that helped me. When a project came, I was straight away identified to be head of that project.
Amazing.
And I concluded on that project successfully. So that is how things have fallen. So like I said, hard work, determination, and dedication will definitely pay off, you know, if you find yourself in any environment.
Okay, so which means, Aliou, mom dafa melni affaire dogo bi
No,
mom bobu
no.
dugg ci de dafa melni mom dal it had to come. That is Aliou's word. So it had to come based on hard work, not maybe, you know, try pour ñu ay nit or def lo xamne, because we are seeing issues as such. Sometimes we see people, you know, not want to go through the right path to actually reach where they're supposed to reach. They want to shortcut, and at the end of the day, it's not sustainable.
I must say, I'm the only Trawally in Standard Chartered. I don't know anyone when I was joining the bank, and I still believe, and that is the value of Standard Chartered. You just have to work hard. The moment you work hard, and it definitely pays off. You don't have to say it, okay, I have to be, you know, like you said, dogo and all those things to get to where you are. You will not be able to perform at the end of the day, because the way you get it, it doesn't come through the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
So eventually it doesn't work. One of my mentors told me recently, and when the person told me, you know, I felt so motivated.
Right.
She told me that someday all the hard work will pay off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's not here yet.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's in 10 years, it is in 5 years, a year, but eventually it will pay off gradually.
It doesn't come overnight.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes it's difficult if you're not patient as well, because you will see there are a lot of people I started with. They leave the bank, go to other places, and all, because if you keep on changing, you're going to start from the beginning, from wherever you go to. Before you settle, it's difficult. But if you stay in one place, for example, and you dedicated your time and effort, absolutely you will get to a point where you will at least say, yes, I've started moving on. Yeah.
He said something very important, patience.
Yeah, patience is very important.
It's very important.
You know, and it's really hard to have patience sometimes.
Yeah.
You easily run out.
People just want to get to the top overnight.
Right.
But now as a manager, what is your role there? What do you do as a manager?
Right. I am the manager for CDD operations. We look at the customer due diligence. Because we are an international bank, there are certain standards that have been set to make sure that we are compliant, because we are regulated by the UK and the US, and of course the central bank. So certain due diligence, basic due diligence, that is if a customer is to be onboarded, open an account, we ask for certain requirements such as your ID card, your TIN, so your source of income, how you're getting your funds from, and this help us to also position ourselves in terms of combating AML, that is anti-money laundering, because people and of course financial crime. You know, if you tend to ask these questions, and criminals, they tend to run away because they don't want you to know their source of funds. And it's very important to be able to establish this, to have financial crime free in every economy.
Yeah. So he also started an online platform called Generation Next, where young people are given an opportunity to just come and share their stories in relation to some of the hardship. His was that he had to do a security guard job, which he is proud of, you know, coming on television, talking about it now. So how far have you gone in relation to that project?
Yeah, Generation Next, the focus is to help inspire, motivate, and direct young people's participation towards responsibilities. We believe that everyone has a story, and at some point when you share your story, it will help inspire someone. Like I've shared my story today, perhaps there will be a lot of people here who will be inspired.
I am inspired already.
To know that it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is you have a vision and you have a focus. You just make sure that you walk in towards that. So that is also what we're doing at Generation Next. We're trying to bring in people to come and share their stories, to help someone who feel that you can't make it in life. You got your breakdown, you got something that is putting you off from what can help you to become better. So that is the focus. That is what we are doing. And I think we have gone far. I think so far we have a lot of people who came and they've shared their stories with us, and we've seen the impact it is making in the society. We're aiming to grow and perhaps do some school outreach programs someday. Yeah.
That'll be interesting if you can go back to CRR. I mean, that inspire most of the youth who are there. I mean, it's good.
It is a good one. We are so happy about the work that you are doing. You know, considering, I will repeat this 110 times, because the story for me is the fact that where you started, it shows resilience, you know, starting as a security guard and eventually pushing to be where you are today. So what are some of the future plans, you know? I love to know.
Right.
You know?
Just like I said, I'm very motivated by giving my own contribution to the society. So definitely the future is to make sure that we have a better young people generation that will come and take up the leadership, because I said young people are the future leaders. So the standards we set for them will always determine the future they're going to have. So my focus in the future is to make sure that at least there is something that maybe, even if it will be in the school curriculums or so, that will help mold our young people, because the current mindset they may have in terms of the way they perceive the society it's not going to help the future leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be something that, I mean, I think of, a dream of, to say someday.
Amazing.
It's
yeah, and I know your children. Oh, before I say, are you taken?
Yes, of course.
He's taken. Case closed. Taken with children.
Right.
Right? So, yes, I know you inspire your children every single day.
Yeah.
You know, having kids and inspiring them every single day. Right. And when we leave here, I'll tell you the reason why I had to announce it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Muhammad. I think for me, if there's one thing I have learned from him is that, you know, in life as a human being, whatever you are doing, wherever you are, believe in yourself, work hard, and then leave the rest to
absolutely
Almighty Allah. And I think his story is quite, you know, inspiring. And then, you know, most of us will learn from this thing. Definitely, believe in yourself. And
you have to,
exactly.
and most of the time, there's somewhere that you need to start.
Exactly.
Always remember that. And the success that you're looking for is not going to come overnight.
Never.
Aliu, I know you want to see yourself somewhere.
Why not?
I want to see myself somewhere. I'm not even half. I'm not even three-quarters there yet. You know, so just be patient, like you mentioned.
It's
so
very
today,
important.
the patience is what I'm going to go with, because sometimes I feel like, am I going to get there?
And you will.
Inshallah.
It's all about patience. It's all about patience. It's a gradual process. It's one step at a time.
Yes.
And then this life is all about transition.
Yeah.
Today you are here, tomorrow you're somewhere else, and then that's how it goes.
Yes.
So it's just about keeping, you know, being patient and then believing in yourself, work hard.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Thank
and life
you
goes
so
on.
much. Yes, thank you. So he is a potential guest on the next generation.
Of course, we'll
I'll be more than willing to,
to
do
something.
Definitely.
Yes,
right.
thank you so
currently
much.
We're on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay.
So if you search for Generation Next, it's available there. You can see.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Trawally. So this is the turned Uncle Sam security guard to manager at an international bank. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. So we will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll head right on to Sports World. Do stay tuned.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly